Hello guys, from previous tutorials we've seen how we can create our own directives. How can also we use a Britain directives, AngularJS directives. In these tutorials we're going to deep inside and see how can we use the directives and how can we manipulate the data that is passed in a function we can create inside the directives. In previous tutorials we've seen how we create a function inside the directives, like if someone is mouse enter in this div, and if someone also maybe mouse leave to this div. We have seen that you have to create this function that is going to perform an action when someone is mouse enter, or if someone is mouse leave. You have to create this function on your own. You have seen how we create this function like this or like this. Okay, now the last problem we've been dealing with it was to pass the values. When we want that, if someone must enter the specific div, we can pass this function something we want. Maybe this message we are displaying should be passed in here. It's a function, it's taking one argument, and we're going to pass what we want if someone mouse enter. So maybe you are entering in my zone. So go ahead and type this message here. You left. Yeah, I think you left in my zone. Okay, now when you enter, you can see that this message is being passed to the function enter as now I log that message on the log. Okay. Mouse enter, mouse leave, mouse enter. Fine. Now we know how we can use any Britain directives. Below there is I'm going to write a list of directives you can go ahead and check out if you have a time, because this tutorial is short. I cannot explore any tutorials that is available to you guys, but if you can have a time, you can go ahead and check about ng-click. This we have already been using that. ng mouse leave, we have been using that. ng mouse enter, ng bind, ng bind HTML. There is a lot of directives you can check out, but this was the examples of how can you use some directives to achieve your own things. So the purpose of these tutorials is to dig deep inside the directives, and I hope you understand how a directive mechanism works. So we have seen how we can create directives and how can we use the Britain directives. So in these tutorials we are going to manipulate a little bit about these two directives that we are going to use. And firstly, we have seen this, and this is why I can maybe comment this, and because it's no more useful, and it's no more useful. Okay, now today I'm going to show you how can you use Angular to collect some data from the form. Okay, now if you may guess, I may be using ng-click when maybe someone click on submit, and let me go ahead and click this form, and form is going to have no class, action, it will have no action, and method will be paused, no need. So what I need is the form, which I have input and type, no text, and the important and the most important part is this ng directive, which is ng model, which is got to name, and input type button. It's okay. So now here is where I'm going to apply energy click, and this maybe will be register function. So now the value of this value equals to submit. Like check out. Well, submit is there. The purpose of this tutorial is to collect the value that is inside this input when someone's clicking on submit. So go ahead and click this function, which is scope scope dot register dot register equals to function, and this function will take object, and for simplicity let's console this object, and this object will be collected from ng model, which means you take ng model name to be passed like here. So let's go ahead and refresh and write our name and submit. Wow, it's not working. What's the problem? Maybe we are using something like ng click. Does it work? Let's check it out. Let's say alert, something like alert. It's not working. What's going on, man? Let's call div, and let's call div maybe. Okay. Oh, ng click. Pardon, ng click. Wow. Okay, I forgot ng controller, which is equal to this controller, because it is found inside this controller. You do like this. Okay, it's working. You have seen that I've been forgetting to include which controller am I using, and go ahead and delete this, refresh, and you see when I submit, the name should be as here, which means this can be in the form of if I'm going to submit a form, I mean if I'm going to correct a form from a user, and if I'm going to verify if this username is found in the database. Let me show you guys what I'm meaning here. I can go ahead and say if object equal to Richard arrest human. Yes, if I enter something like Richard here, let me go ahead and copy this and paste there. You see, but if this is like to verify if a user is found in database, you can go ahead and add multiple objects and go ahead and say info inside the soft saying name, say name, and say info, because I said guys this is an object, this is how we create an object. Info email. Remember, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the object is something which is like variable, which is info equals to something like this, where you say name equals to blah blah, and email equals to something blah blah. So you see that I'm trying to do the same here. So that's what we mean an object. So here I can be able to collect multiple objects and pass it in a function when someone click on register, and this register is defined here. Now, because the object is no longer a single entity, we can now go ahead and say object dot name equals to Richard, and object dot email equals to Esther, my email 457@gmail.com. Then go ahead and display the message you want. Okay, let's go ahead and do quick because the time is running. Invert the left hand side assignment. Let me check. If object dot email equals, I forgot this, should be 3. Okay, now I have no time. Let me go copy this inside here and go ahead and copy Richard and pass it here. Submit. You see, you won. If you miss one thing, it won't say anything. Thank you for watching my tutorials, and I hope you have understood what is an object and how can you manipulate an object when you're going to check whether maybe a username and password is found in your database, and you can take some decision accordingly. Now you have seen how can you use if conditions to determine according to an object. We have seen also, oh guys, we will see this in the next tutorials. Thank you for watching my tutorials, and if you like my tutorials, please subscribe to my channels, and if you like my tutorials, share to many people so that I can learn a lot. And sooner we are going to start learning about Android, so please stay in touch.